So if you are watching this, nobody's here in a minute, I don't believe. And if you are, then hello, you're very quick on me. If you're watching this past the actual event itself, we're already going to tell you sort of technological issues potentially on Jackie's side of things. So Jackie, what's going on?
Oh, no, I can hear a beat band in the background when I'm talking or you're talking. So I don't know what's going on because I've only got one tab open on my phone. Nothing else is switched on. It just sounds like there's a little bunch of robots in the background chatting away. It's an echo, and usually it's when you've not got headphones on. So while we're here, I'm going to put my Bluetooth back on and just see if it works again.
Oh, here we go. We're watching a very live, up-to-date technological marvel at the hands of Jackie. Watch, see if it works. How is it going? Let's help. Houston, are you reaching me here, Houston? Can you hear me? Hello.
I'm coming. Hang on.
She's coming up. Watch it. Look. She's defaulted. How about now? No?
Oh, you've doubled up now.
Oh, I'm doubling up now. It's getting better.
Oh, that's confusing. I can hear about 3 of you. No.
One's enough. One's enough, Jack, at the end of the day. We'll just roll with it. And, if anybody's got any suggestions as to how Jackie can solve her echoing problems, maybe Jackie's the only person who can hear it. Oh, I can't hear you at all now. Yeah, you've completely gone silent on me now.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. No.
What's going on?
I don't know. You know what? She's a marvel at all things. Oh God, what's going on? We are witnessing a live meltdown here at Wisemounjaro Towers of Jackie losing the plot. We're just live here in the studio as we see a woman losing all sense of reality as she's wondering, am I schizophrenic? Or are these voices actually coming from the headphones? We don't know. Are you reaching me there? Live at the scene, Jackie. I can't even hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. There we go.
I can hear you. I had 2 of you going on at different times. Nothing's on. I don't understand.
Do you know what? I think by the end of this, we're going to see a broken woman who's going to be crying into a camera, wondering what's going on.
I hate technology.
So we've already got a couple of comments. So we'll first hi to you and Indie Edith. Or Edith, sorry, hello, Edith. Why would I say Edith? That's stupid. But before we even get going, Jackie, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I don't know what's going on. Somebody help me.
Has it been warm enough for you, Jackie?
I've had about 2 hours outside, yeah. I needed to pull a bit of a tree down. I'm just getting rid of everything on here. Turn this off. Yeah, so I've just been busy. Obviously, I was chatting to you earlier. Me and the gorgeous Chris did a video before, and it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I had a really, really lovely time.
Brilliant stuff. Jackie, whilst you're here, I mean, I'm going to get you to help me with something here because I'm going bonkers with this, okay? Right. Cast your mind back, okay? Now, we're going back in time.
Chris,
okay?
I've got memory like a goldfish. I hope this isn't going too far back.
Well, that's what I'm hoping you might be able to help me here, right? You remember, obviously, the ice cream van used to go round.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I used to get my 6 from him.
Do you remember an ice cream called Zap? It was a Zap ice cream. It was like a pastely multicoloured ice cream.
Chewing gum at the bottom.
With a what, sorry?
Chewing gum at the bottom?
No, it was like a Magnum shape, but it was like kind of like almost like lots of different pastel colours.
Yes, I do remember it. Yeah, I do remember it.
God, because nobody else does.
Yeah, I do remember that. And then from that, they brought out later on the Twister, which was very similar.
There we go. Move the headphones right, please. There we go. Well, I'll just grab them, just stick them on myself. There we go. Good throw.
I've got a sneaky feeling I've got another page open on my phone, and that's why it's pulling up. But I don't know how that's even possible.
Marvel. You're just Marvel. You're probably tapping in.
Chris is speechless.
This is the Carol Ann. Carol.
Just
Oh,
entertain yourself for 1 minute. Hang on.
No, it's all right. No worries. Hello, everyone in the chats. Thank you for jumping on board. And obviously, this is your moment. If you want to ask anything to Jackie, other than what's going on with her phone and what planet she's on at the minute, then by all means do so, because we'll be popping any questions to her during this. And obviously, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, subscribe, and so on. You would be good at tossing the caber up here in Scotland, Jackie. Well, we have heard about that. I mean, I'll feel right now.
No.
But we got, you would be good at tossing the caber up here in Scotland, Jackie. We've got that. Okay. And as we know, that's not a euphemism. It really is. So, all technological gadgets are being thrown across.
Getting moved, yes. Oh, before we start, and I'm very nearly through this. Hang on a minute. Before we start, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, dear Chris and Mrs. C. Happy birthday to you.
There we go. Thank you.
Strawberry, look, it's a little strawberry.
Do you know what, though? It's also the same birthday as Paul McCartney. And it's like,
well, you did, yeah. You forgive me.
The check to come to the post, but nothing, miserable git. Right. So thank you for that. And yes, of course, everyone, it is my birthday tomorrow, and obviously the most important day of the year, other than a certain person's birthday who's joining me today. Zach, isn't it weird the things that you sort of try remembering and take back to like ice cream vans of a child?
Yeah.
Things that, what was it? One of the same as every kid? You hear and what tune did you guys used to have? We have Felix the Cat at the moment with ice cream vans playing the music. We have do you used to go and run out and get?
Yeah, okay, I'm going back a bit now. We actually used to have a rag and bone man.
There you go.
And I remember a coal man as well. We used to look after the coal man. Honestly, when I was really small, I used to live in a little place in Bury, called Somerset. We used to chase the coal man. Rag and bone man, they used to get balloons off. But my local ice cream man, that's where I used to buy my single number 6 cigarettes for a penny off him. I was about 14.
Was it a similar time as the week to get the Cresta person with all the different different flavoured fruit juices?
Yes.
We had a very.
I'm a lot older than you. Well, let's not go there. We had this conversation before. I used to tell the grandchildren that that's when he's letting everybody know in the neighbourhood he's going home now for tea when you heard the music.
Yeah, there you go.
Like you do.
I think it's this hot weather that really just it fries my brain. I mean, I don't know about you, but it really fries my brain. But I tell you what, though, it's not as hot as Spain, is it? And we're thinking about, especially when you're trying to get a swimsuit, and the only one you can find is £92. Isn't that right, Jackie?
Yes, absolutely. That is one of the big pushes I had to get on Mounjaro. How ridiculous. It's not even like yards and yards and yards of extra fabric. It's probably about 4 inches more than anybody else's costume. Yeah, do you know, that's just wrong. It's sinful. It's sinful. And I do not like sort of wasting money. Yeah, that upset me only because I only wore it for about 2 weeks. Never wore it since. I still put it upstairs ready for vintage.
I think the thing is, again, I think from a conversation we've had before, when you get to the point where no matter what you do, you feel different to everybody else, because other people obviously would have got what they wanted and had no problems, and there's you hunting around for a swimsuit only to find, £92 for a swimsuit. I mean, if this isn't made of gold,
no diamonds on it, nothing.
No, absolutely. So I'm always interested in the person that leads up to Mounjaro, to be honest, because I think the greatest of stories can be the ones that lead up to there. So, what's your sort of background then? What's your been involvement with like work and also like your relationship with food?
I got to a point, I think, I used to be self-employed for many, many years, and I had quite a big business, worked from home on my little lonesome, and I've always been like a fairly decent chunky size, but not big, big. And then COVID came, and I was in a really toxic relationship, and then all these illnesses turned up that were not related to each other, about 5 completely different, quite serious. At the same time, I'd made a decision to quit my business and go and work for somebody else so I can get the paid holidays. I was fed up of working for myself. I never did it for the money. It was more for being there for the family members. And then I got hit with these illnesses, and that was me. I was in a bad, dark place, and I ended up having to go on radiotherapy, chemotherapy, steroid injections, all the stuff that helps you put on like stones and stones away. So I was like a steady, not pulling me weight. I was a steady weight for a long time, but still hefty. But all of a sudden, I think I put about 4 stone, 5 stone with all these medications. And I wasn't in the for about 3 years, 4 years. I wasn't in a great place to heal myself either. And it was around that time I reached out in desperation, and because I teach meditation, I started getting back into serious into meditation. I was trying to self heal the only way I knew how, which is through, going within meditation. My body was fucked, basically. Excuse my French. And
You might say.
at the same time, I then got into mediumship, and I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form. I'm one of these that I'm so against religion, but the concept of energy, I'm quite scientific, and how we are science doesn't know how we work properly yet. They know the organs, they know the skin, they know the blood, they know all that stuff, but they have no idea how our energy and the soul aspect of us. I'm not talking about religion soul, I'm talking about what makes us unique within our energy. And that's when I got into mediumship. And it was only when I opened that door I kind of connected all the dots, and that's when I started self-healing. Because all of a sudden, all the outwardly stuff, all the life stuff, the health stuff, the dark place in your head, the mental health, this was so much richer and so much deeper for the healing. And this stuff it was put in perspective all of a sudden. It's all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, I have got it so wrong. And I thought I was an intelligent person, got it so wrong for so long. And yeah, all of a sudden, I started just healing, blossoming, all my ailments are all getting sorted, and I'm just so much better. And I've also got faith in the universe that they will deliver what I want, a bit like the laws of attraction, when as I need it. And I started using this many years ago, but in the last 5 years, I started to really understand it. And lo and behold, oh my God, my life is so different now compared to 5 years ago. I can't tell you. I don't think I'd be here if I'd not found.
What would you say was your I mean, everyone I always think has a lowest moment, the sort of the rock bottom moment before you then sort of re-energize yourself towards self-healing. What would have been your moment that you think back to?
There's 2 really. There's the weight loss one, but before that, I was a paranormal investigator for 4 years, Chris, and I've done it for donkey years. And I was going to locations trying to find these spirits because I knew there was something else going on. I just couldn't pin it down. And then all of a sudden, I went to the Arthur Findlay College only because they were running a course that combined spiritualism, which I was dead against, and paranormal investigating. And I just wanted to get in the college because it's a couple of hundred years old building. It's one of the oldest buildings in the country. It's so much history. It didn't allow paranormal investigators in there. So I thought, if I go on a residential course for a week, and I did go out every single night, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, when everybody's in bed, and I just did paranormal investigations all over that hotel, up and down, inside and out. But on that week, a big bombshell was dropped for me, and it kind of opened a door. I thought I was going to get kicked out the very first day, because I thought they'd work out I was a fluke and I was only there for the ghost hunting and I wasn't a spiritualist, because I didn't believe in any of that. So I had to go through the motions. On that very first day, you're told to sit there, you're instructed how to do it, close your eyes, just use your imagination and just have somebody sat in front of you and ask to bring somebody through. So I'm panicking at that point. It was the very first morning of the first day. And I thought, I'm just going to have to make some shit up. You know, I need to stay here for a week so I could do these investigations. Anyway, my imagination went crazy. So when I'd finished, I gave this woman all this information. She only started crying on me. And said, "Oh my God, you just brought my nana through." My first thought is, yeah, she's just desperate to hear from somebody and just making it fit. But no, you come up with the name, she's come up with the name of the dog, and you come up with the name of the street she lived on, and you come up, and I sat there, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, how can I guess all that? There's no freaking way I can guess that stuff. I was so skeptical. My job as a paranormal investigator was to make sure I was debunk everything first before you can even consider it to be paranormal. That's how the week went, and it was just such a revelation that week. I'm thinking, oh my God, there is more to life after death. If you're suddenly told undeniable proof there is life after death, can you imagine how you would feel and what would go through your head? You would feel about this big.
Minute, the overwhelming nothingness and everythingness, the sort of juxtaposition of everything. And to be honest with you, I think as somebody who does believe in more than what we are, I don't know about you, I would take comfort from it. What did you take from it?
Once I realised I was a very, very, very tiny part of a huge family. You know, when you spend a lot of your life and you feel, we're talking about this today with my daughter, and you kind of feel alone sometimes because you always feel different from everybody else. You always kind of feel you're never as chatty as everybody else. You're never as nice. You don't fit in anywhere. That's how most people feel that all their lives. That week, I suddenly realised that I didn't have to fit in. I was already part of the gang. It was the weirdest, I can't explain it, it's the weirdest experience. That's when I started doing the healing, and that's when I started appreciating it's not just all about the materialistic things and how I looked, but that's when I was right in the middle of all the health stuff as well. And I had some crazy healing that week that I can't explain. Like I said, very scientifically minded. I can't explain it. And I'd been searching for years for stuff. It was literally about a year later. I'd been thinking about the diet. I'd not paid it anywhere near as much attention. It didn't make me as unhappy as it used to once I'd got into the spiritual side. Went on the holiday, 92 quid for costume. Yeah, that did not help. But I went on my own to go and see my mum. She was elderly. I went for a fortnight. Fastening the seatbelt in the airport. You explained earlier about this. I had such a sweat on because I couldn't quite get it in. But I started having palpitations on the plane. I didn't want to put my hand up and, everybody's going to go, oh, look at her, she needs an extension. I knew I could not do that. And I was contemplating letting that plane take off and just hiding my seatbelt under my jumper unfastened. I was that desperate. That was a shitty start to anybody's holiday, all because I was fat. And then the second I came home, I think I've got 2 photographs of me and my mum. That was just out and out selfish. She could, luckily we're going to see her in 5 weeks. She better hold on. She's quite poorly at the moment. But if that had been the last holiday, can you imagine the guilt I would have felt just because I was too fat standing in front of the camera? So yeah.
I think what it does is it says something about a person that you would want to celebrate an occasion, because let's be honest, holidays for people are not necessarily a common thing. So it's something to be looked forward to.
Yeah.
So that you go with family or friends or whoever. You take photos to kind of have a shared experience of it that you can recall back later. And you might as well not be.
Well, I might not have seen her again after that. That could have been. Well, it still could. We've got 5 weeks and then we're going again, and she's poorly at the minute. She's 89. That could have been the last time I ever saw her. And although we shouldn't, we do pin it a lot on the last holiday, the last time she had to talk to them, the last, whatever with them, last meal you had out with them. And I ruined all that in a way because I would not get in front of the camera with her. Because if she'd gone before that, before I'd seen her again, I would have struggled a lot to have that.
It makes it kind of, it's a hypothetical question, but I suppose had that have happened, would you have still had the same response as what you've done now with losing the weight that you have, or could it have gone even further the other way?
I'd feel not only guilty for letting myself get so fat and unhealthy, but also because of that, not sharing those moments on camera with my mum. So it's double. I think this is what happens when you get so big with your weight. It rules you. It kind of has power over you. You don't realise it until you really step back and take a look at it, or you lose a load of weight. Then you start looking at things you used to do and you think, why did I put up with that? Why did I let it get so bad? It's easy for me to say now, I'm 6 stone lighter. So easy for me to say now, and I understand those out there that aren't. But yeah, we batter ourselves up for our failure instead of looking at our wins and then moving forward with our wins and hoping for better wins. We concentrate so much on what we got wrong. And I think when you are unhealthy and you're super overweight and then you're getting on a bit of weight, you live in that place. You remind yourself all the time about that place. Susan, she's saying she's getting terrible feedback from the chat.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, Susan, it's a technical glitch which we don't know why. Why we're getting this feedback.
I am so sorry, Susan. Oh, bless you. I don't know where it is. Everything's closed. I'll even switch the bloody lights off. Should we go dark?
You're reading. There you go. So I'm always interested as well as to why people settle upon Mounjaro, because to me, I don't always feel that Mounjaro is a person's first choice. It tends to be either a last resort or many sort of options down the list. Had you gone through other kind of approaches before you got to Mounjaro?
As in a weight loss injection?
Or just like a weight loss diet or anything like that?
Years of it, Chris. Years of it. I've done LipoTrim, Cambridge diet, Slimming World. Wait, I've done them all. And then all the fad diets as well. Years of them. I'm not for the one to trying.
And what do you think was stopping you from succeeding with it?
Food noise. Because like you, I'm an emotional eater, stress eater, loneliness eater, call it what you want. Basically, my head rules my stomach. That's it. And it's funny because when I do set my mind to it, like you, I did the 72-hour fasting. I found it a piece of cake. I could go happily with no food if I knew that was what my plan was.
Absolutely. I think for myself, it was exactly the same, because I think, like I mentioned to you before, something would happen, like as it always does, and then you would find yourself going, I need something because my stress is up here or my depression is up here, so therefore I need something. And because you didn't have anything stopping you, you was like you said another time, you said, well, sod it. If I've done it today, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start again on Monday. Isn't that the old saying? Is it? I'll start on Monday.
That's yo-yo dieting, isn't it?
Absolutely. So
It's funny. Sorry, there's something else. I've just found out, and I think I mentioned this to you earlier on today, that it isn't just our food noise, because apparently our hormone receptors that talk to our brain, some of us have got a broken connection. It actually is a broken connection, so it doesn't work properly. So when we eat, your brain should tell those receptors you're full, or your stomach rather should tell your brain you're full. If that's broken, there is an element there that you don't stop. You can't hear it. And apparently this is when Mounjaro works for those people. If you've got that broken connector, that's the people who do so well on Mounjaro. It shows it's broken. Fascinating stuff. All this stuff is coming out now.
I think because so many for decades and decades, it was you just sit all there because you want to eat everything. I think there was an element of greed about it in the respect of you didn't want other people to have the food. And I don't think that's ever been the issue.
That's ridiculous.
And so I think what it's doing is it's showing that, do you know what, there's more to this than people recognise, and it's not just laziness, greed, anything like that.
Not anymore. No, it's all coming to life. Chris, you got any wired headphones?
No.
If you haven't.
I don't think I do. Hang on a second. Hang on. Bear with, folks. What I'm going to do is actually. Oh, there we go. Let's only just turn that off. Bear with, folks. Talk amongst yourselves, okay? And I'm just going to get. I have realised I've got some earbuds somewhere, so just bear with me, folks. Just carry on. Jackie, just dance and give a read.
I'll host you. I'll look after everybody. Right, guys. Now he's gone. How are you doing, Susan? How's it going? We're not greedy. We just don't know when we are full. Or the receptors are broken that tell you that you're full. This is what's coming out in the medical profession at the minute, Susan. There's something that those receptors are not working properly. Says a lot, and those receptors become wobbly when we have the menopause as well, which explains a lot about how menopausal women, pre, post, and whatever, it adjusts our weight, and then we can't shift it because it's those receptors are having a wobble. Apparently, we are all GLP deficient.
We're going in. Right, folks.
Do it.
You know what? If you ever want to watch two people,
Chris,
being almost.
What have you done? It's stopped.
I can't hear it all now.
It's stopped.
Hang on.
How does that sound, guys? Because from my end, that has suddenly all stopped. Can you hear us? Testing.
I can't hear it all.
Can you hear me, Mother? Take them out. Yes, Chris, it stopped.
Oh, okay.
Just as you sat down, it stopped. Did you knock something on your table?
I don't know.
It stopped. It's gone. It's gone.
Praise the Lord.
Yay!
For he has the bring on.
Oh, Susan, she can hear us. Yay! Thank you. We got it. Yeah, it just stopped. You knocked something on your table. You must have done.
Probably. Probably my face, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you move the mic? Yes, maybe that was it. Right.
So where are we then?
Guys,
what are we doing?
I know we've only got 4 people in. Please go and share this and tell people that Jackie says they've got to come over and see our Chris. Come on, get them over. Go and share. Go and share it in Facebook and share it wherever you like. Let's get a few people on board because we're just going to share.
What I was that obviously I came into it late in the game with you because you were already 7-8 months into your journey.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it's been an incredible amount of weight. Is it 6 stone, I believe?
6 stone, 3 pound. I'm fluctuating at the minute between 1 and 2 pound either way. I'm not going up, I'm not going down. I've plateaued because I had to restart the Mounjaro, yeah.
That's fine. And I saw that with your very first weigh-in, you'd lost 11.5 pounds.
I know, crazy.
So what was that? I mean, mad. What was that week like? Your first week on it, to lose that much amount.
It's funny you should ask. Only yesterday, I'm actually building a starter bundle pack. Anybody knows I've got a standstill, there's a free book on there and some other bits and pieces, but I'm actually creating a starter bundle for anybody who's just about to start or just started. And in that, I actually diarise my exact first week. And it's really funny you should ask this because it's still really clear in my mind. I was typing away it yesterday and I was having wobbles ups and down. The very first day, I made the mistake of having my bacon in the air fryer, and then I was nearly ringing 111. Get this fucking Mounjaro out of my system. Honestly, I was that close from just wanting some counteractive drug,
Mhm.
I survived, but then as quickly I'd had the food noise goes the previous day, and I'm thinking, okay, I know I suffered last night. This could work. And it was that made me go, this could work. I need to, and I had no choice. It's in my system for a week already. I couldn't take it out. So I thought I'll just go with it. Had some wobbles, had the headaches. But I found out because of the bacon, I got super scared to eat. And I shat myself. Are we allowed to swear
Well,
on
that's
this
not gonna
channel,
help.
Chris?
Yeah, I know. Of course you can. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I shat myself. I panicked because I was in so much pain. Oh my God. And I thought I couldn't cope with that again. I will take myself to A&E. So I panicked and I didn't really eat an awful lot that first week. And that's where I discovered protein shakes. And I'd have some little biscuits. I'd have a crab stick. I'd have a Baby Bell. I mean, it was poor for nutritional. If I was, now I look back and I thought that was horrendous. But my energy levels that first week went woof. Very similar to
Yeah.
what happens after you've been fasting. It just skyrocketed because I wasn't feeling my body was shit anymore. And I think that was the £11. I didn't drink loads or anything. I was nervous of drinking water. I was scared because I was panicking a little bit. So my first experience was a bit of nausea, a bit of a wobble, but then I realised really quickly that I needed something in the morning with my tablets, with medication. So I'd have
Right.
a cheese slice or a Baby Bell in the morning, and that must have kickstart my metabolic rate. So it's not going, oh, we're going to get some food today. It wasn't screaming,
Mm.
I'm hungry. But then I wouldn't have much at all after that, just my protein shake. So basically lived on protein shakes that first week. Didn't do me any harm. I had over 6 stone to lose.
Mm. And then I think the thing is that when you have an enormous weight loss like that, it's got to affect your mental health as well in an extremely positive manner, because then that's proof that something is working.
Yeah, I think you get so wrapped up in what you're doing in the now because it's a little bit mind-boggling and mind-blowing when you get on Mounjaro. You get into a bit of a state of panic and you're trying to think of all these things. You're so anxious, you're going to get all these side effects. So you don't have a lot of time to think about, oh my God, I've got 10 stone to lose. It didn't register that with me at all because I was out. I can't live on fresh air. And then I went into, even though I've yo-yo dieted for so many years, Chris, and I know exactly what we're supposed to eat, fitting it in that Mounjaro box just took on a whole new level. And it was like I needed to re-educate myself completely. So that took all my time and energy so I didn't think that long term. Andy, I didn't shat myself the first week. That was probably about month 7. Sorry.
Yeah. That's how she lost 11.5 pounds. Just shit it out into her pants. That's how she did it.
I got constipated that first week because but I think it was nerves more than anything. I just couldn't eat. But I did, within the end of the week, I realised I cannot survive on fresh air.
No.
So I went and I stocked up on crab sticks, stocked up on Baby Bell,
Crab sticks
cup of
all
soup.
the way.
Yeah. But I was kind of like lost in the woods because I'm thinking, what the fuck can I eat? What's not going to have a reaction? Not because I honestly was so cocky and confident and thought 2 slices of bacon, fat cut off in the air fryer, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, I'll be fine. That's good to go on Slimming World. It's not on Mounjaro. Nothing
No.
tried. So I had to rethink everything, and that kind of took over for me. And you can tell on the second week, it was only a couple of pounds, I think, but I'd started eating again. I did stay away from carbs for about 6 months, though.
Mm.
I completely stayed away from the carbs because that glucose doesn't do me any favours at all.
We've got a question here. Do you think eating loads of protein speeds up the weight loss? I don't eat much protein and I only carry count including carbs. That's interesting because protein seems to be the word that comes associated with Mounjaro. Now, I'm not 100% sure I'm completely on board with the I must have 400,000 grams of protein a day in order to do it. But what would you say to that?
Right, protein, your body is energy, and for your energy to replenish, you have to have protein in your system. It's as simple as that. So basically, your body cannot function energetically without some form of protein. Now, as a general rule, we'll eat enough and drink enough to keep that replenished. Yeah, it's like putting oil in your car. You've got to keep putting that oil in your car, otherwise the car's not going to run. It can chug along, but it's not going to be very nice, and it's going to fuck up the rest of your engine. It's exactly the same with oil. But protein, if you start losing weight really quickly, you are burning too much energy for the protein to get replaced back into that muscle. Now, muscle doesn't just contain muscle, it contains fat as well. So when you start losing huge amounts of weight, some of that fat is going to come out of your muscle. You need to have it replaced because otherwise the energy is going to go. Now, protein, what it does, the way it works in your system, and it correlates with your energy and all the rest of it, and how it does its bits. I've done tons of research on this. It will actually make you feel fuller for longer. So with Mounjaro, you've got a slow digestion and it doesn't need a lot to make you feel full. So if you have, I don't know, a big bowl of mashed potato, it's all carbs, that will go through your system very quickly, even though it's slow for Mounjaro. But if you have the same amount in protein, that'll probably last you 5 times longer for how you feel for fullness, and it will give you 5 times much as protein in your muscles. They do say that you lose muscle mass with the weight loss, and it's only because there's fat in the muscle, it's like a little marble in the muscle.
Yeah.
And if you don't replace that with something, you don't want to replace it with fat because the whole point is to lose your fat. You will end up with muscles that are like that.
Look at those people. Look,
Yeah.
she's flashing this for all of your benefit. Look,
I can fly.
this is now going on OnlyFans, you do realise.
Hey, do you know I could make a few quid out of those, couldn't I?
There you go. Well, there's some elderly man sitting there going, "Oh, go on, love, go on, give us a."
Just wait till I get my feet out. I've got my shorts on as well.
Oh God, no, steady on right now. Everyone just leave because we've had enough. So.
Apparently, there's somebody making a few quid on OnlyFans, cutting the frigging toenails. What kind of society are we living in now?
Yeah, I was short of money, you know, and I can't help it, you know.
Yeah, if the monetization doesn't work, let's get over to OnlyFans.
You know what? And I'm glad Andy has brought this up. He's tried the 3-day water. Do not dare speak to me about the 3-day water fast. You lasted 18 hours, and do you know what? Kudos to you for lasting the 18 hours. I went the full 3-day slog with it. And no, if you haven't seen the video, it is on there. It's not pretty. It works for a lot of people, and I may well feel the benefits later on. But my God, was that an eye opener for me to see what things I am addicted to, what things I'm as part of my routine. So well done, Andy, for your 18 hours. But I'll tell you what, did you down like gravy after that? Because that's what I felt like I wanted to do, just some jugs of gravy. Now, listen, Jackie, I noticed that when you then did your second video, whilst this, to me, in my mind, this is still a good loss, it was a £2 loss. And I'm sort of mindful of the fact it was 11.5, then £2. And I'm just interested because I know what I would think. Were you disappointed?
No, I was kind of relieved. And you doing the 72 hours, what did you lose on that 72 hours?
Well, that week I lost 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if you'd have gone all week and barely had scraps of food, the chances are you'd have been closer to £11. And that was my first week. So it wasn't realistic. It's not something that can be maintained. I felt good at the end of the first week. Who wouldn't after £11 weight loss? But I'm not stupid. I'm an adult and I know that wasn't realistic. It wasn't. And I couldn't go week by week. And I intended to stay on this until I'd done. So I knew I had to eat. So I very slowly started introducing more 2 protein shakes, a big thingy of ham, and all kinds of. But I was trying to really concentrate on the nutrient and the protein aspect of things. I was the kind of person before Mounjaro, I could go with just 1 meal a day and I couldn't shift a pound. And when I say 1 meal a day, I'm talking about a big plate of salad, loads of chicken, no sauces on it, just clean stuff. And I couldn't shift it because my glucoses were like this. Yeah. And it was constant. It was very fast as well. I had my glucose tested before Mounjaro. So I was in a situation where I was hungry, and I didn't want to eat, and I was only eating a little amount. But this is those broken receptors as well that we talked about before. You're in a situation where, especially menopausal women, or even men go through the menopause as well. They have hormonal changes, and when the hormones in the gut, and that's what Mounjaro alters. When that starts getting messed up, you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. No matter what you do, you cannot lose it. It's near impossible. And that's where I was at. So I needed a big, swift kick up the backside. So I think that first week, that bacon did me a favour. It gave me that booster that I need to say, right, okay, I'll take it again this week. Because I was only going to go on it for a month.
Yeah, and you did your lunch, as Andy's mentioned, you did your lunchtime walk and talks.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Yeah, I'm sure I had a little bit of a telling off about those because I was doing it around work. But yeah,
How dare you
let's not go there.
do something for yourself around work?
Yeah, we'll not talk about that. But oh, very nice. I'm glad, Andy. Yeah, I can talk bollocks. It's as simple as that. I'm a Mancunian. Mancs like to talk rubbish, and I can waffle for England. So
I think when it comes to weight, I think it's always a confidence thing, because confidence comes from within. Like when you was talking about, you started to heal. I think it's because people generally live outside in, when ideally you should be living inside out. And I mean, you're probably going to tell me, no, Chris, you're absolutely wrong. You're talking bollocks. But I would say your first 3 videos, you didn't have very much confidence at all. And because we all know you've got,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
but there was something behind there. As an empath, I was thinking, she's not talking how she's 100% feeling. And it wasn't until about video 4 or 5, it seemed like an energy had come out of you.
yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if when the last time was that you watched those videos, those first 3 videos back. But because I did it recently, I was watching them and I'm hearing the words, but I'm not
Connecting.
feeling it.
I think I was just more concerned, Chris, because it was working for me and how hard I tried, and there's hundreds of thousands of Jackies out there that have tried so hard for so long. It gets desperate. Honestly, I'd have cut off my right arm to have lost 6 stone way back then. And I was so, bloody hell, this is so much easier than anything I've come across before. Why has nobody told me? Why is the world not shouting? I'm getting on frigging YouTube. I need to tell the world about this. And that was the whole purpose right at the beginning of, I don't care how. I fake it till I make it all the time. I've got, I sound very confident, but I'm not. I just throw myself into things. And I thought, I need to just get on YouTube. I've no idea how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to talk crap and I need to get the message out. Everybody, you've got to go and buy Mounjaro. That's all I was interested in those first few weeks. That was it. And I was just I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just thought I need to kind of tell people, look, I'm losing weight. If I can do it, you can do it. That was it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
confidence comes later, doesn't it? The
Yeah,
confidence.
because like I said, probably about the first month or so into it,
Yeah.
there was just an energy shift, and I think, you know, unless you really sit and watch those very early videos,
No.
you
I
see
can't watch
it.
myself back.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's, for me, it's a good way to be able to ground yourself and to remind yourself. I mean, you know, you've lost 6 pounds, 6 stone, 6 pounds, bloody hell, cross. You know, it's a bit more than that. But to see yourself at a previous time and listening to yourself and thinking, I'm saying it, but I know too well what's going through there and what's in
Yeah.
here, and so on. How sick to death I am of being this.
I was also a little bit nervous, Chris, because I'm thinking, I think I realised, like with video 2, that I thought, if I balls this up, I'm going to balls up in front of people on YouTube. It's public, public balls up. So I kind of started feeling a little bit of pressure very early on, thinking, have I done the right thing here? I mess this up and fall off the wagon on week 3. I'm going to look all right, you know.
But it's that pressure that keeps you going on, and I think something that people go to you for is this sort of like, okay, you've had this lived experience of it now. You've had the lived experience of week 1 to where you are now, and so there's things that people don't think about, which is something I've been thinking about, and I was going to ask you about it because I've yet to experience this. You have Christmas. Okay, what does a Mounjaro Christmas look like? How do you feel? How is everybody else regarding it? Bear in mind, it's very much a shared celebration.
Yeah, I was September, October, November, December. I was 3 months in, and I'd lost 3 stone at that point, 3.5 stone maybe.
Pretty much where I am now that you would have been at Christmas.
Yes.
So yeah.
And it's weird. It takes your head a long time to catch up. Now, it was around just before Christmas where I was having to hold on to my pants to go into work and up the stairs because they were kind of slipping down, my knickers as well. And I kept testing.
That was nothing to do with the weight, though, Jackie. Sorry,
It
it was.
was.
It wasn't. It was. You ain't know what you was up to. Sorry.
I'd even get in work, and there was one occasion I'd forgotten to put a bra on. I'd even get in work and thought, shit, I've not got my bra on. Oh, yeah, I have. Because I didn't feel it anymore. Normally, women will know this. It's cutting into you in all different directions. But it was around this time I refused to buy anything clothes-wise because I kept saying, no, I'm in this all the way, and I was no point me buying because it'll only fit me for a month. And that was my uniform as well. I was like, refused. And it was only my friend who lent me an outfit. We were going on our Christmas do. And there's a few people that got ready at mine, and we all turned up at this posh place, walked in, and most of my teammates who were sat waiting in the bar didn't recognise me because I've been wearing these 3 sizes too big uniforms, and it's different when you're not in a uniform, isn't it? But the girls that I'd had here earlier, they'd done my hair, a bit of makeup and all the rest of it, they didn't recognise me when I walked in the bar. And then I had a photograph taken. That's what blew me away right there. And that took me through Christmas. I sat down for a Christmas dinner with work. I had the 3 courses, but you're faced with, I can't remember what the store, I think it was prawns or something else. So I had 2 prawns, that's all I wanted. And I had a mouthful of my bread, and it was warm. Oh my God, that's the first bread I'd had since September with a bit of butter on it. And I thought, no, I'm going to have stuff. I'm not going to do without, but I've got to measure and make sure because I knew I couldn't have a lot of it just in case I was going to have some really bad side effects. Me Christmas dinner, I just had some of the meat, and I think I had a quarter of a roast potato with a bit of gravy on there. That was it, and then 2 mouthfuls of cheesecake. So as far as I was concerned, I was so happy with that because I'd hardly been touching nice, tasty food like that. It'd all been this protein stuff, but I didn't miss out, and I did exactly the same on my Christmas dinner. Literally, at that point, I felt 3 months in, Mounjaro is probably when it's at its strongest. It's still quite powerful in your system because as you go through, it kind of wears down a bit. But that was really powerful at that point. So I was able to just have 7 mouthfuls of a 3-course Christmas dinner in total, and I was done.
I suppose you still felt like you were still partaking in it, though. I mean, that's
Yeah,
half the
I didn't
thing.
want to miss out. Yeah. So I
You'd had
did.
what you wanted.
What my thing was, I didn't touch chocolate till about month 5. I'm a sugar addict, and I own it. Chocolate is my thing. When Easter came round, that's when I fell down. I had to buy all the grandchildren and my daughter and the son-in-law chocolate, and I would end up having to buy those probably 3 times for them because I'd eat them in the house. It's just the thing I did. And selection boxes, I never touched the selection boxes. That shows the power, how powerful Mounjaro was at Christmas compared to Easter. I didn't touch the selection boxes, but I had 2 Easter eggs and I had to go out and re-buy 2 Easter eggs to give to the family.
So you found that it waned by the time you got to Easter, and there you are huffing chocolate out of the box. Just
Yeah.
yeah, sort of Easter eggs here.
Yeah, I didn't even go down the chocolate aisle in the supermarket till about 4 months in. I didn't feel the need. That's usually the first place I go. Do you know what I mean? For Mounjaro. Yeah, it's weird. I'm now, because I had to come off Mounjaro for 4 weeks. I had norovirus. I got tested. Now I had norovirus, yeah. But because I've got an autoimmune disease, it means it takes a lot longer for my body to recover from.
Yeah.
And a few other issues, but it meant that I had norovirus solid for about 3.5 weeks. Now you think I'd lose a couple of stone, I didn't. I really appreciated having a downstairs loo around that time. Put it that way. Yeah.
Praying and sitting with the great white God in the bathroom. You know, so yeah.
But that triggered an inflammation in my gut that Mounjaro can give you. This is what I've worked out since. And since then, when I slowly went back onto Mounjaro, I was on 2.5 and then 5 for nearly 8 months. I never moved up because it was working for me. They don't see the point of moving up. If you're still getting that suppression, no food noise, don't move up. And then, so when I came back on it, I went straight on to 2.5. But that first week, oh my God, sulfur burps. I thought I suffered with sulfur burps right at the beginning. That was just wind. Proper sulfur burps are frigging horrendous. I've never ever experienced anything like it. Then your gut starts talking to you as if you've got an alien living in there, and honestly, it's so loud. I'm sat there in work thinking everybody must be able to hear this, you know. And then obviously the shits start, and that was basically the first 4 weeks of me getting back on Mounjaro on 2.5, and I'm in my 6th week now, and it's took this long to settle that down because I created a stomach inflammation with the norovirus, and Mounjaro can give you a stomach inflammation. It can inflame your stomach. That's the gastric side of Mounjaro.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people are saying about when they have these symptoms. Now, I'm just going to jump into the comment section because we've had a few that's come in. So, Andy hit 2 stone loss after 10 weeks. YouTubers like yourself have kept me true and inspired. Chris is a nutter. I certainly am, but you can't say I'm not fun. It definitely is a nutter, but brilliant nutter. It was the chin rollers that inspired me.
That was the crocheting thing that was going on, yeah.
I always feel people, Susan says, I always feel people that judge me because of my weight. You will, even if they're not, you feel like that. That's the thing. Because you get so self-conscious with everything that you feel it is a form of paranoia. And sometimes it is true because unfortunately we do have people in the world who are like that. But you kind of put that mindset into any kind of social situation and you think everybody is looking at you. And I'm sure people, not just people who are overweight, but people who have disabilities or anything like that must feel the same thing. But one good thing here, Susan's saying that her daughter has lost 7 stone 5 pounds, and the fact that you walked past her last week in the town because you didn't recognize her, that is the powerful effect of what it is that we're talking about. I mean, 7 stone 5 pounds, Jackie. I mean,
I was just blown away when I saw that, and then I just remembered, God, I'm 6 stone 3 pound. I just you forget. It's just that's amazing.
That's a lot of weight. A lot of weight. So something that I wanted to sort of touch upon is that there seems to be, whether it's purposeful or not, I don't know, there seems to be a reoccurring theme that appears up in your videos to do with dealing with sadness.
Yeah.
Is there something to that, or is this just luck of the draw?
Feeling sad.
So, like, tips on if you're feeling sad, like when you're going
Yeah,
through this
I
and all
think
that.
it's a lonely journey. Even if you're partnered up, so you're going to be less lonely. But at the end of the day, we are basically on our own with ourselves and Mounjaro, our guilt, our pleasures, our mind garbage, the baggage that comes with a lifetime of crap that we've dealt with for one thing or another, where it's bad relationships, bad family, circumstances, jobs, whatever it is. And then to have that weight thing on the top, that doesn't go away because the pounds go away and the inches go away. That stays. I've taught meditation for a long, long time. As you know, I'm a medium as well. I'm a life coach. I do soul rescue and all this kind of stuff. So this is my forte. That's my speciality. But it's recognized in me the changes in my body. My mind hasn't done any changes. That's not changed a thing. There was one point when I came off the Mounjaro and got back on it again. These habits, these stupid habits, started just flying back into my life again. I'm thinking, Jackie, you've learned nothing. Again, you're beating yourself up. And I think what we don't do, we're that concerned with our body and how we look and the size of our clothes and how many numbers are on that scales. That's the external stuff. We're acting. That's our acting role there. This is the stuff we need to be looking at, and that is the stuff that you have to venture into for any kind of maintenance. To me, to reach my goal, I don't just want to be maintaining my body weight. I want to rebalance my mind. I want to be able to release all that garbage, get rid of all that guilt, judgment that you've just been talking about. That has to go. And that can't go until you go in and start having a proper look at yourself. So we're looking in the mirror, we're seeing what everybody else is seeing, and everybody will tell you when you lose 5, 6, 7, 8 stone, you don't see what everybody else sees in the mirror. You don't. It just doesn't. I mean, there was one years and years ago, I lost 4 stone, and straight away I put it all back on again because I didn't believe that I'd lost 4 stone.
It's dysmorphia, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but that doesn't come with just a 6-month Mounjaro journey. I'm 60, so that is 45 years of conditioning bad thoughts, me carrying and collecting this negativity that I've brought on myself based on my problems. Nobody else is on mine. I've created those, I carry those. That is what we have to release. And what people, I think, this is going to hit a lot of people hard when the maintenance comes, when you get to any kind of maintenance. If you don't sort that stuff out, it's just going to be straight back in. Honestly, it will. You'll see so many people just stepping straight back into the food, the bad food shit that we all did before, when that's how we got so fat. And it needs to be dealt with, and that comes from within. So you have to address that. It's not a sadness as such, it's more you've got to go in and you've got to sort it. You've got to go and do that spring clean. You've got to get in there and start facing some home truths and facing that, it's great when you see the photos, it's great when you see the scales, but that's a tiny, tiny part of who we are. It's tiny. If we don't sort this other stuff out, how are we ever meant to marry up the two and enjoy the weight loss? That's the thing. I think I've realised at 6 stone, I'm still not enjoying 6 stone weight loss. It might sound really bizarre for somebody who's only lost 2 stone or somebody who's not lost any. How can you not enjoy 6 stone weight loss? Because your head is not changed. Nothing's changed in there.
And I think that takes me again. I know I mention it quite a lot, but only because A, I find it incredibly entertaining, and two, because I think some lessons can be learned from it. My £600 life. Okay, so the people who are massively morbidly obese, and they're losing stupid amounts of weight, but they're always pushing them towards, therapy, because there's usually, not always it doesn't seem, but usually a reason that they got there in the first place. And as they keep saying to them, if you don't go for this, you will find yourself back where you were before. And this doesn't necessarily need to be some kind of trauma. I know on the program they probably pick the most sensationalized ones they can find, but there's usually something that led you to that point that is going to take you back there if you
You've
let
got
it.
to clean up. You've got to cleanse it. Yeah, you have to face it and cleanse it. You have to learn to accept it. It's part of you, and not be constantly resisting against it. And that's what we do when we eat. We push against it. We resist against those emotions all the time instead of saying, "No, come on in. I accept you." Yeah.
Do you think there's such thing as food addiction?
No, I think food addiction is the result. The cause is the. I'd more likely say emotion addiction. I think if you have an addiction to an emotion, or if you have a lack of emotion or a lack of some part of what you need as a human being, it will create a food addiction. Just like alcoholism. I had two brothers that were alcoholics. They both passed due to alcoholism. And they always felt like there was something missing, or they didn't fit in, or there was some part of them that wasn't whole. And that made them very influenced by people around them, and they felt like they couldn't be who they wanted to be, so they drank to be somebody else. So they weren't allowed to be themselves. They couldn't work out how to be themselves. And I think that relates to people that are obese as well. Do you know how many times, and this is something I've worked out since I've done Mounjaro, and I'm going to be going really deep into this because it's, like I say, it's my forte. Do you know how many times I have dieted in the past and then self-sabotage because of the fear of somebody possibly giving me attention or showing me some love or being accepted and failing? I have self-sabotaged myself on diets. So I'll lose 2 stone, I'll get attention, or somebody will give me some love, or not. I'm not talking about the single and married aspect. I'm talking about being accepted.
General human connection.
Yeah, or their expectations changing you. And then I've kind of backed up and come straight off the diet, wanting to put the weight back on again. I've not done it consciously. This is subconsciously, because of my fear of being a failure for their expectations. It's
Does
deep.
that ever go away?
That's what needs to be sorted in a Mounjaro journey. You cannot, if you go through Mounjaro and don't sort that, you're going to get to 6, 7, 8 stone off, and then it's all going to go right back on again, because you have not sorted the cause in the first place. You have just catered for the effects. You have attended to the garden. You've not put the right manure on.
You got to make sure you got the right shit, haven't you?
Right shit, yeah. Right shit up here.
Absolutely. I think one thing I also made note of, which I thought was quite interesting, was that even from the get-go with your videos, you were instructional with it. So you were catering to an audience that may be in the same position as you, which people sometimes tend to start off with just saying, well, this is what I'm doing. But you were straight away with saying what you need to do is X, Y, and Z, and so on. Do you ever worry about, especially as Mounjaro gets more and more popular, about YouTubers that might be giving incorrect or maybe even misleading information?
Yeah. I mean, I've just found out, well, I knew about this before, but because the questions and the channel's getting so popular now, and the questions are just literally, I love it, but they're getting a lot now. A lot of people are coming to me for advice on dosage publicly, and this is what I'm a bit anal like this. I love my research, and I will go and do my research to find out what the law is. And at some point in my future, I'll tell you the reason for that. Could be to do with the job. Know more about that. But what happens is, in the UK, you are not allowed to advertise a prescribed medication or give advice on a prescribed medication. So basically, if a YouTube channel, somebody answers a question, I'm on 2.5, should I go up to 5? You can only say, well, this is all I've done. This is what I did. You can't say, oh yeah, you should go up to 7.5. YouTube have every right to close your channel down. So that's the kind of person I am. I will research till the skin of my teeth. When I first come on with Mounjaro, I was putting my code. I didn't put my code anywhere on my channel because I read the small print with MedExpress and it says no advertising publicly on social media. You have to know them. And then all of a sudden, about a month in, I saw everybody was advertising the code and I thought, hang on a minute. And then I'm thinking, are they happy for them to do it because they're getting advertisements for MedExpress and they're getting the business? And I thought, I'm jumping on this bandwagon. And then all of a sudden, a few months ago, we all had an email to say all channels will be removed. I only fortunately had one video that I'd actually plastered the code behind me. The rest were in the description, so it was an easy enough job to go on there. I do feel sorry for those people who used it everywhere on their video because you couldn't use those videos, but rightfully so. So again, I'm a bit anal like that, so I will find it. But you'll always have the scaremongering, and you know, when you said that I'm quite instructional, Chris, I'm bossy. I'm a good teacher. People like my you know, how I give it out. They like
You're
this.
a gobby cow, is what you're
I'm a
saying.
gobby cow. Yeah, I'm a gobby cow. I can't help it. But people kind of like that relatability where I'm no bullshit. So there's no fluff. And do you know how many people I looked at on YouTube before I started Mounjaro, and I could not find a honest, down to earth, no bullshit, no fluff person. I couldn't find anybody. Nobody.
Why are they like that, do you think?
Because greed, money takes over. But you've got two elements. When you're talking about the US, they are a different culture completely. They are very showy. They will never talk to you about farting in the kitchen and having to whack the door. They'll never discuss that kind of stuff because they want the world to see them as this nice, rosy, shiny person. Where us UK people don't give a shit. We'd rather have the down to salt of the earth people, and that's who we are. We don't kid anybody. We're not interested in that side of life. We want the genuine down to earth stuff. And do you know what? That's what's working on YouTube as well at the minute. It just so happens that's what's working very well on YouTube.
Well, people want, I think they want authenticity, and they want, if something works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. This is what I've gone through. Make your own bloody mind. I think people have had enough of being spoken down to. Like,
yes,
I know what I'm talking about, and this is all great, and you should listen. And this is where, especially with something we talked about on your video, with the media. The media seems so, in my opinion at least, and if anybody's, you know, from the media is watching this, you know, right, here we go, right, get me handcuffed in straight away because you're not allowed to talk.
That's mad.
You know, why is the obsession with the negative? Because we only have to watch the videos ourselves to see that there are so many people that are not only having beneficial things from weight loss, but also other things that are helping out because of Mounjaro. And you would think, and I said this in my live stream, the last one I did, you would think they would be all over that as something to help, especially in these times where everybody's depressed and miserable and overweight. Yeah, absolutely. And they're quite happy to talk about how the NHS is overburdened and everything and this, that, and the other. You would think they'd be all over that, like they've just found a cure for cancer. And yet all you've ever get is this horror story, that horror story. Now, I pulled on some particular examples I found, and each and every single one of them, I kind of thought, duh, because you've kind of picked on something that, well, yeah, you know, if you do that, not going to work very well. But yet they're quite happy to lap it up. Where is this coming from? What's your thought on it?
Yeah, that's just our modern culture. These headlines sell papers. That clickbait thumbnail gets people watching the YouTube channel. People are their motives are not true. They're not at the benefit of the viewer. They are at the benefit of themselves. And this is what a lot of the, sorry guys in the US, a lot of the US Mounjaro channels or GLP-1, wherever they're taking, it's for their benefit, how they look. It's not anything to do with just being themselves. I couldn't be anything different if I tried. And I have tried to be good. I've tried to not swear in videos. I've tried to talk like this and it doesn't work. It's not in my makeup. I never got it. Yeah. But I think people are just, it's like these scaremongering stories. When they brought some stories out about, there's a study come out, 200 people have been tested on Mounjaro and there's been 80 hospital deaths, 80 hospital admissions. Then I found that paper. I did a video on it way back. I found that paper. 200 diabetic people that weren't obese were on GLP-1. Let's go a bit further. Then you have, out of 200 people, 2 people went into hospital for a different condition than GLP related. But the newspaper took the information they wanted to make this lovely big headline.
The headline that I mentioned that sort of stuck with me was a woman who was on the contraceptive, was taking Mounjaro, found out that she was pregnant. And again, my initial reaction, duh, you know, it's listed everywhere.
There's
And yet someone should look
yeah.
at it and go, you know, look at this, look, see, look, it affects that. Well, yeah, it's there for you to read from the get-go.
So you're going to get misinformed, and that was one of my last videos. This is the bullshit about Mounjaro that you're hearing out there, the myths, and it is just crap. I mean, I've just seen a video. I will send you the link because it blew me away. There's this doctor on there, and she's saying that she has been seeing patients over the last couple of years that are on IVF. She's put them on a very tiny dose of Mounjaro, GLP. They're getting pregnant, because it increases fertility in men and women. But I'm not gonna, that's all bullshit. And that's why you could sit on a channel and rip these people to pieces and say that's all crap and I'll prove it, this, and this. Or you can take a step back and say, do you know what? I'm here for you and me. And this is what I'm going through. Do you want to know how I got rid of those sulfur burps? I found peppermint oil capsules. I'm eating apple cider vinegar gummies. I'm taking really strong probiotics I got on Amazon. Links in the description. That's how, and that, when you get to a place where you are not just getting on and saying, oh, I've had a bad week, I've had a great week, and this is what happens, that's what happens. That's not value. I am seriously contemplating further on down the line of doing a channel just dedicated to making YouTube videos, how to make money on YouTube, because people don't understand you have to provide a value to the person who's watching. So unless they love you to death and they've known you for 10 years and they're your BFF, they're really not going to sit there and listen to you whinge about your week and just go through da 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 da. But if you're going to say to them, I found this cracking shop and it sells this and this, you've got to get over there. The sale's on till next Friday. Oh shit, I'm going, right, okay, she's good, her, I like her, I'm going to, let's subscribe. So until you can provide that, what they need, they don't necessarily need, because they don't know you. Unless they're a friend and you know them physically, they're not really into you because you're just a face on the screen like there are thousands of us. But if you can say, this is how I tackle my sulfur burps, and it worked for me, might work for you. That could be really handy for somebody who's really struggling with sulfur burps, because they are hot, they are worse.
I bet they are. I mean, the thing is, right, my purpose on it is obviously it's a self journey, so it's this idea, much like everybody else, it's inspirational, motivational for people. But I do mind with comedy because that is A, who I am, and B, sometimes, especially if you are on this, you can have your days when you're feeling like crap and you're wondering what you're doing, and you want something that's just going to uplift you with somebody who's also on it as well. So for me, that's been my take on it. But there's been a little bit of a debate that's been rumbling on, and I wanted to get your take on it, only because you was mentioning about when you had those people who were hospitalised, but it actually turns out that they were not overweight. This whole debate on who should be allowed to have Mounjaro. Because I think Gemma Collins is the one who's brought this up. So Gemma Collins of what was it? The Only Way is Essex, isn't it?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do know who she is, but yeah.
She made some comment, and it's gone down like a shit balloon, basically. But then it sparked a debate about. She said it should only be obese people who get it, and then you get the other side saying, well, why can't people who struggle to lose 5-6 pounds, why are they not allowed to have it? I'm just interested in your point of view on that, because I've got my own opinion on it, and I think I've expressed it before, but I'm interested in as sort of an instructional sort of helper of people. What's your point of view on that sort of debate?
I did something about this, a video on this, about let's just say you're diabetic and I'm 6 stone overweight. Who's entitled to GLP-1 between us? If you don't take diabetic medicine, chances are you're going to do whatever diabetics do and potentially die. If I don't have Mounjaro and lose 6 stone, potentially I'm going to have a heart attack because I'm overweight and I'm going to die. So which one of us two is actually going to deserves GLP-1? That's exactly the same whether you've got £5 to lose or £50 to lose. This argument is going to just get pushed to one side anyway because of the new information that's coming out. GLP-1 in tiny doses is going to be attacking anti-inflammation in your brain and your body. And that is 90% of all illnesses are caused by inflammation. So this argument you've got now is going to get pushed out the window because the medical world is sort of saying, oh my God, and they're coming back in troves from all these different areas of medicine. It solves this, it helps that, it improves that, it does that. You see what's happening. We're in such a revolution of medical breakthroughs at the moment with this GLP-1. They are just tipping the iceberg. So this stuff is going to get rolled out to everybody. It's going to be in loads of medication for absolutely loads of illnesses, not just weight loss. So I think Gemma's talking out her arse.
Well, it won't be the first time at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But
so
no, it's just that
who are we to judge? Who are we to judge anybody's reason?
Absolutely. I think I touch upon it because when you get these hot topics come up, I think it's always good just to sort of say, well, what's my perspective? Because I don't know. I was on the perspective of, do you know what? I found it bloody hard enough getting it in the first place. But if rules are changing so that more people are able to get it, it's going to be beneficial for more people anyways, regardless if you're extremely overweight or whatnot. And it's just good to get people's take on it because, like you said, it's going to blow over. But at the moment, it seems to be right, okay, the Mounjaro community is split into two now. Because
it's a metabolic disease at the end of the day.
Yes.
Just why would you deny somebody with high cholesterol statins because they've only got a little bit of statins? They only need a little bit of statins. But you can't have statins because somebody over there needs a lot more statins than you do. That's just people talking out the backside. Sorry, that winds me up. I get right on my high horse with things like this. You are not in a position to judge. You are not sitting in anybody else's shoes. So how can you talk from any perspective? A doctor will prescribe medication how they see fit based on medical records, the patient in front of them, and nothing more. Nobody else can sit in any kind of judgment. It annoys me when people say, we're stealing the medication from diabetes. I had somebody on the other day. I'm getting to the point that if I'm very close to just telling them to fuck off, or I'm just trying to delete them or just ignore them because they are winding me up now because you cannot take, it's like we are buying paracetamol at the local Aldi's because you've got a headache. You're taking all the painkillers off all those children in hospital because you're buying paracetamol from Aldi's. What the fuck? Stop talking out your ass. I'm sorry, but that's how it is.
Absolutely. I just I listen to people, and it's amazing that even in a community that's as bonded and as sort of together as it is, that you always still find caveats where people separate into camps, and it's mad because this is something that's meant to be helping as many people as it can,
The uneducated individuals, Chris, that have not put the time and energy into the research. See, this is where I haven't got time for people like that. They're fools. And if they want, they can go and be a fool over there. I'm not interested. I try not to waste my energy on that kind of listening or conversations. And even if you were to give me a different opinion, I'll take it on board and say, yeah, you're welcome to your own opinion, but it's not mine. So we move on.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, you educate yourself first. I do like to educate myself. I'm not saying, and somebody said to me not so long ago, Jackie thinks she's an expert, she's in dangerous ground. I have never once claimed to be an expert. I'm just an anal person that lost a lot of weight, and I like to do my research, and I go on the medical sites, not frigging TikTok.
You
I'm
don't
not
go on TikTok for your medical updates. What are you
do
talking
not
about?
entertain doctors on TikTok. Yes, no, it's not happening. I can't stand the sight.
Now, listen. I mean, if with yourself, I mean, you're a very sort of busy person with obviously your own work, but also your plans as well. What are your plans when it comes to your channel, your sort of social media presence? What are we expecting to see from Jackie's journey?
Social media, as far as I go, I grew up with Facebook, so I'm kind of happy with that. I haven't got a lot of time to deal with it, so I'm looking for admins for that at the moment because that's getting busy. I think to be successful on any kind of platform like this, you have to niche down into one, and YouTube is mine. But with that comes other things that I can bring in to make people's lives more valuable with the information I give them. So I started a website way back, and my idea was just to put all the videos on there, and I created a few free ebooks, and I thought, if that helps one person, job done, I'm happy. Um, I then put all the videos on there. I've had to stop that because I'm doing all these random videos now and topic videos as well. Because I get this bee in my bonnet and I think, oh my God, I've got to share that. I didn't know that. Oh, they're not going to know that. Oh, quick. And I'm straight on it, because I think people need to. Anyway, and then I set up. What I did do is I put all my products under me because everybody always asks me, where do you get this, where do you get that? So that's on the website as well. But then very recently, literally last couple of weeks, I've set up something called Stand Store because I kept ballsing up with the emails. People would message me and said, I've signed up for your newsletter and I can't download the ebook. Me and technology again. Anyway, so I thought, I can't deal with this because I'm not that clever with technology. It takes me a long time to learn, and there's a lot to learn. People don't realize YouTubing is not as easy as you think. So I set up Stand Store, and that's just basically a place where I can put my ebooks. And the last how long now? 5 weeks. I've had people message me through the email on the webpage saying, I'd happily pay for your services. Okay, fine. So with my mediumship, I had a price for a 30-minute session. I thought I'll just use that. If they don't want to pay it, I'm not forcing anybody to pay anything. Anyway, I've had 5 already. People message me.
Wow.
I've had 5 Zoom calls where people just sit like this and they just ask me anything they want. And I'm not in a public domain, so I can give them advice. I'd never give them medical advice, but it's always, this is what I have done and has worked for me. Maybe think about this or this, but don't listen to me. You need to do what you think and talk to your medical professional. And that has to be really importantly passed across, because otherwise people will start seeing you as an expert and then take it as gospel. And that's when the suing comes in.
Absolutely. And you don't really want to fall into that sort of trap. So
the Stand Store is the way to go. I've got, at the minute, you can email me a question and I'll email you back with my answer. There's a little charge for that. And then there's the 1-to-1 half-hour Zoom session. There's a free ebook on there. However, what I have been knuckling down on the last month is I am going to be doing some bundles. So there'll be a mixture of videos and ebooks. I have not started the curiosity bundle. So basically, anybody who's thinking about Mounjaro and wanted to know a little bit of information, because it's scattered everywhere, isn't it? So I just want to bring it all together in one place, and it's going to be free. What's Mounjaro? What's it all about? What is it? Because I was all over YouTube. What is it? And went to all these different places. It's not in one place. So a free curiosity bundle. I have nearly completed the starter bundle. So it's anybody just about to start or just started. And it's everything that they will put them in such a powerful position to try and avoid as much pain and suffering and get rid of that fear that's in there. Even just injecting, I give a real step-by-step guide of how to inject, what to do with it all. And also I'll give you a little inspiration of what my first week was like. So it's everything. And then there is a warrior pack, and that's people like yourself that's been on it 2, 3, 4 months. Shit can happen. And you're starting to think about that maintenance at the end. When do you stop? And you have problems with the clothes and everything else, maybe getting to the gym. And then there's going to be a hero pack, which will come much later. And that's when I hit maintenance. And I will be doing all the meal plans in there as well. And it's just going to be one place for everything people can just purchase. Hopefully it'll help someone. If it just helps one person, I'm happy. I'm made up.
At the end of the day, like I said, you're helping yourself. But if in the same time, if you can help somebody else, then all the better, isn't it? So
that's the whole point of the channel. That was the whole point of the channel.
We have on this particular Tea Time podcast, we have what we call the Fantastic Four. Okay, so the 4 questions that every guest is going to be asked. Okay, so we had this before. First one, only because this gets mentioned so many times with different people, and I'm just interested in each person's take on it. What has been your best non-scale victory so far in your journey?
Being able to wipe my bum without panicking, I'm not going to reach it.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is
to a point, you get that fat, you start panicking. How the fuck am I going to reach it to clean it?
Yeah. I'm adjusting my shower. I'm going to have to put a seat in or kneel in the shower and pray.
It's a very real problem, and not having to hold your pig in breath every time you do your shoelaces. Trying to do your shoelaces that quick, you get into a right panic, and you're having to. Okay, I'm going back again.
Yeah, with a snorkel.
Just to do your piggy shoelaces, yeah, that's a big victory for me. Huge. That told me something's changed. And
what was something that surprised you the most when you went on Mounjaro?
I think everybody's going to say this one. Not realizing how much food consumed me. I only gave up smoking 3 years ago. And I realized as soon as I gave up how stressed I got thinking about when's my next cigarette? When do I have to go to the shop? When can I have one? Where's my lighter? Have I brought my tobacco with me? And then when you give up smoking, you think, oh my God, I feel so much freer because I'm not having to think about it. Never dawned on me if there was one for food. Oh my God. And I, like you, did it it was literally in the first day.
Yes. That sort of the noise is gone, and then you're left with well, what am I supposed to be thinking about? What am I supposed to be doing?
It's liberating, but then you suddenly think, oh my God, I've got space in my head. It's like you've got a room that you've just cleaned out. I've got space in my head. What? Oh, and that's where I introduced the sort of wellness aspect. I started doing a lot more meditation, having, making sure I've got my smellies and my crystals. And, that's when I made space for all that, because we're busy lives and sometimes we feel we haven't got enough space for everything. So, yeah.
Are you actually I mean, this isn't the question, but what you answer will sort of negate it. So, are you at the weight you want to be, or are you still continuing to lose weight at the moment? Because that will then influence my next question.
Yeah, I believe I've got everybody telling me, "Oh, Jackie, don't lose any more weight." The thing is, they're only looking at my face; they're not seeing what kind of belly I've still got, and they're seeing the gels coming down and thinking, "Oh, she's only about 7.5 stone." I'm fucking not. I've still got quite wide around the boobies here and the belly. I would like to lose, I think, another 1.5 stone, possibly 2. I'm trying to be really patient because Mounjaro's not working as it should at the moment. I keep going up with clicks. Another 2 weeks, I'll be up to the 5 again. It might not be enough. I might have to creep up to the 7.5. I don't know. I'm not hitting that no food noise yet. And I'm trying to be really patient and not jump too far ahead because I'm in this to finish. I had to make a decision. Do I go back on Mounjaro or finish it? And I thought, no, I've still got possibly 2 stone to lose. This could be my one and only chance. I might never touch Mounjaro again after this. I might be on a daily pill after this. Who knows? But
absolutely.
Can't.
So if you reach this weight, then that you're aiming for. My question then is, what's the first thing you'll do when you get to that finish line?
Nothing different. No, nothing different at all, because there's nothing to do. I'm doing it already.
Or just shit yourself or something, you know, just sort of keep up the thing, you know.
Nothing has ever stopped me from doing what I want to do. Nothing. I
And
live by, yeah, I don't hold back for any reason, whether I'm fat, thin, whatever. I just do it.
And just to round this up, then, my final question from the Fantastic Four is: any advice for people who are considering? They're on that precipice of do I not go on Mounjaro? What's your advice?
What are you waiting for? I left it a few days before I plucked up the courage to do the jab, and I kicked myself. Literally, I realised within the week, why did I wait so long? You'd be a fool not to. You've waited long enough. Time for you.
Absolutely. Jackie, where can people find you? For those who are watching live or those who are watching the catch up of this, where can they find you?
Just Google it, Jackie's Journey with Love. You'll find the website. There's a stand store. There's a YouTube channel. I'm over on Facebook. On Facebook, I've got a public Mounjaro group and a private Mounjaro group. But all the links are underneath my videos.
Brilliant. Jackie, thank you so much for jumping on this. Everyone, if you're jumping in on this as well, or if you're watching afterwards, if you too want to be a guest on the Tea Time podcast, my email address is on my channel. You can find it there. And please, for the love of God, go over, if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to Jackie here.
And subscribe to Chris as well.
Oh yeah, me as well. Me as well. I don't think it's going to allow us to stop this and then have like a chat afterwards. So we'll sort of cut it. It's been wonderful speaking to you, Jackie,
Thank
and
you. Lovely. And have a lovely birthday tomorrow, Chris. Say hi to Mrs. Bonnie.
Thank you so much, and
Take care,
everyone.
everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.